Hello, I'm Jenni P, your host of House of Preeminence. It's my great pleasure to welcome you another premium guest into this all-new edition of the House of Preeminence. Now, this particular edition is all about the outside and the inside, is so within, so without. We've heard a lot about it, and my next expert is going to talk about wealth in a way that you may never have heard of before. We are going to bring in consciousness. We're going to bring in making an impact. We're going to bring in integrity. We're going to bring in lots of money. We're going to bring in how to make great wealth in these chaotic times. My guest has over 12 million listeners all over the world and over 2,000 episodes, I believe, of his Conscious Millionaire podcast. He is one of the most elite mentors on wealth that I've had the pleasure to present to you. And we are going to bring his expertise to you to share and to open up the possibilities for yourself. Welcome, JV Crum.
Well, thank you so much, Jenni P. I am excited to be here. And I'm especially excited if you are listening to this because I believe there are no accidents. Every time I do one of my Conscious Millionaire Show episodes, yesterday I recorded 4, tomorrow I'll be recording 5. And I always say, there's no accidents. You're attracted to whatever is resonating at a level that you're next ready for. And my wish for you is that this information is going to help you take another step forward to becoming more limitless. Limitless in your life, limitless in your impact, and limitless in the money you put in your bank. That's my goal for you. And I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me as a guest.
Okay, let's dive right in. So for those who have maybe never associated the word conscious with millionaire, it is very different. JV, would you tell us what a conscious millionaire is, why those two words and those two qualities go together, why they're so important?
Well, thank you. They're critical, and it's really interesting, Jenni P. This came to me as an inspired thought. I had been seeking, what is my purpose? Why am I on the planet? And literally happened in a hot tub. I was reading a brochure for a green festival that I had just picked up the brochure. I'm flipping through it and I see the word conscious. Now, for a couple of years, I've been thinking I wanted to do a millionaire program, but at the time there were so many millionaire programs and they were vapid. People were selling boxes, and the only people getting rich really were the people selling the boxes with all the information in it. And it was all about, if you get the car and the house, everything's going to be wonderful. Well, I'd already been through that when I was 25. So I had emerged from that at the age of 26. I already knew that wasn't the answer. And I didn't want to take people on that journey because I knew what would happen is, yes, I could help them make money. But if that's the only focus, what really happened for me, it happens for literally millions of other people who become successful. And that's their focus, is they end up empty. They end up without meaning. They end up feeling like at the end of the day, they're just worn out, but it doesn't really matter. That's the problem. And there was that word conscious. And in my forehead, literally, and that's how I get my intuition, was the phrase conscious millionaire. And I got a tingling in my spine. I said, that's it. That's what I've been looking for 2 or 3 years. I've been going out camping 2 or 3 weeks at a time, solo, asking the universe, why am I here? And I said, oh, so the universe finally decided to tell me. I sat in that hot tub for 40 minutes and just reveled, because I also know how the universe works. And I knew that consciousmillionaire.com as a URL would be waiting for me. I didn't have to jump out. And so on the way to the computer while I was drying off, I remember saying to myself, Jenni, I just received my assignment. And there was that feeling about it, like, I was finally ready. You know, I kept telling the universe, I'm ready, because the universe decides when you're ready, right? And I had this assignment and I thought, this is so cool. Now, I had no idea what Conscious Millionaire was, but I knew it was a cool phrase. And sure enough, I went, consciousmillionaire.com was there. Being a good attorney, I very quickly filed my trademarks. I got them all over the place. And then I started to explore that, and I realized that Conscious Millionaire was really a journey to wealth that is at its core about your human potential, about consciousness evolving in you, about spirituality. In many ways, it's the journey that people took in the East a couple of thousand years ago. But instead of, going to their outcome in the West, we have an outcome about money, but this spiritualizes it. It makes it a conscious journey that's about meaning and purpose. And at the core of Conscious Millionaire is each entrepreneur, coach, expert taking their internal purpose, turning it into a big vision that becomes the vision of their business, and using that purpose to drive the specific impact they choose to have, then going out in the marketplace and finding out how the market wants to receive that impact. That's a very important part that a lot of change makers miss. They will flounder a lot of times because these are people I train, because they're trying to bring their impact into the world in the way they see it. So the part you retain is it's your purpose, it's your impact. But like any kind of marketing endeavor, you have to go out and find out, well, do they want it in a red box or blue box? Do they want videos? Do they want live trainings? Do they want to meet with you? What topics do they want within that impact? You still have to go out and do the market research. But the difference is, in a conventional, not a conscious business, a conventional business, you start outside. You go out to the marketplace and you go, oh, well, what's missing in the marketplace? In a conscious business, like Conscious Millionaire, you start inside. You get a laser focus that comes from your purpose. So that determines your band. And then you go out, and within that band, within that focus, you look for, okay, what does the market need within this kind of impact? I want to help people. Maybe you're a healer. You want to help people, who have problems with confidence. Okay, great. Now go out and find out who actually wants to buy some help and how they want to buy it and how they want it delivered. And that'll make you successful. But if you just focus on, I want to do this, but you don't find out what the market wants, typically that's when people flounder. If they don't go out and find out how the market wants their particular purpose and impact delivered to them.
That reminds me of this Japanese blueprint called Ikigai, which is all about Ikigai is all about making sure that your vocation, your purpose, actually how do you serve with it, and that there's a sweet spot there. Is that what you're talking about? Is that you really find that sweet spot?
You find the sweet spot, and the sweet spot is specifically the intersection between your purpose and what the market wants in terms of what they're seeking and how they're seeking it. And you use their words, not your words.
I love it. This is so refreshing to hear. This like cuts down the white noise of marketing. It's because I'm all about purpose as well, and this is so good to hear from somebody who has, I know from your website and from reading the testimonials and the reviews of people you have made the most incredible impact. So JV, what is on everybody's mind at the moment, as a lot of the world, it seems to be imploding, and corporations are closing, and our economy appears to be in complete and utter turmoil. What is the hope for people, entrepreneurs mostly, who still aspire to this kind of high potential? And when you mentioned highest potential, I always do backflips when that, because I'm so motivated by highest potential. So for these people, those people, my listeners, our audience out there who still want to make an impact, how do they cope right now in this environment, JV?
Well, first of all, I want to comment on high performers and high achievers. there's a level above high performer, because we think of high performer as someone who's really living with excellence. But I want to talk about Michael Phelps for a moment. So I happen to have been on the swim team in high school, so I follow swimming. And in 2012, he won one of his gold. I think he has over 22, 23 Olympic medals. He won a gold in breaststroke by 1/100th of a second.
Wow.
That's the difference between what I call limitless performance, which is what I train people for, and being a high performer, because the high performers might have gotten the silver or bronze, so they might not have even placed because it was so close. They're still a high performer. They're still one of the best in the world, but a limitless performer gets that extra edge because of their mindset, because of their strategies, because of their execution. They are living at a very peak level that most people don't even think about. It's when everything that you do, you realize there's yet another edge. There's another edge. There's another, and it's not a destination, Jenny. It's really a way of living, because at that limitless life, limitless impact, limitless money, I think of people like Elon Musk. Elon Musk doesn't even know what he's going to be doing 10 years from now, but it will be more limitless. It'll be yet another more limitless milestone. That's what I'm talking about. Now, let's address the issue because I've been holding so many trainings. Today, after this, I'm doing an hour and a half training for people who want to make 10,000 a month. And there has literally never been a better time, and here's why. At a time of chaos, at a time of shift, and I'll tell you, I'm a futurist, and as we're doing this, I think we could have a couple of more years of this pandemic. This is a fantasy land that happens to be going on in the United States at the moment, and this summer could really set us up for an explosive growth in the variants that are coming along. That said, a lot of people are cringing because their business model no longer works. Now, you don't have to be retail for that to happen. Just a lot of people are finding their business model they had didn't work. And I'm going, this is fantastic. Because if you already have, let's say you already have a customer base, what's happening for every person on this planet, especially in the Western world, because we're the ones hardest hit. What's happening is that we're all getting another set of problems. So like this weekend, I'm scheduled to do a 2-day training. It's all online. It's on my Mac computer. I don't have to go anywhere, even though it's being done from a half hour from where I live. I don't want to be in a room with other people even with masks, because I go, well, isn't it a lot safer just to be at home and watch it on the computer, and I get to eat some healthy almonds for my break. So that's an example of solving a problem, but people still want training. People still want to get together with people. People still want personal development. People still want to learn things about their business, and it's all become virtual. So that's an example of solving a new problem of how do you do training? How do you have meetups? How do you help people transform, when the old model that a mastermind was you had to get together in person, and everybody I know who's doing masterminds, and I'm going to be doing them this year again, are doing them all virtual. And guess what? Everybody shifted. But everybody is having new sets of problems. And when there's new problems, there's an opportunity for innovative answers. And that really is the time when people can grow new businesses or take their business and pivot it so they deliver differently. Or maybe it's a different group that they now need to deliver to. Or maybe a segment of their group isn't buying, but another segment of their group is buying even more because they're attuned to what's going on. It's also a time, and this has happened for me. I just did a show last week. I've been in lockdown basically for a year and living alone. I go to the grocery store, but I go out for walks. I go out in the mountains, but that's about it. I don't go to things. I don't get on a plane. I don't go to hotels. I don't go to inside stuff. It's been a very compressed journey for me when in this time period, and I'll give you a range, that in 1 year, I've gotten at least 5 to 10 years worth of especially spiritual growth, personal growth. I've iterated my business several times. It's much more precise. I'm much more clear where I'm going. My goals are bigger. And all of this happened because I had more time to be contemplative. And I've always been contemplative, but I was going out 4 nights a week. Now I go out 0. So something has to happen with those evenings. And I'm sitting around reading books, writing in my journal, meditating. I have a hot tub, so getting in the hot tub and kind of contemplating life. And that's given me a lot more insight. So I've shifted, and as I'm shifting, so are my clients. So I'm attracting more people who want to play at even higher levels, at this limitless level. I'm now going, if you don't want to play at that kind of limitless level, I'm not as interested in working with you. You don't want to make a big wave in the world. I don't think this is the right fit. But I have a very clear picture of who I'm working with and how to attract them, because I've shifted. And that might happen to you. That might happen to you, that you've shifted. And you know what? That's a great thing, because it just means you're going to attract a new kind of person. But you got to keep that journaling and keep clarity about what is that new market? What's their number one problem? And what is the outcome they're looking for, which is otherwise called a solution? If you can nail those in like one sentence, that's what I work with my clients to do. Let's get it down to one sentence, and then we know where we're headed. And we can fill it out more. But if you've got the essence of it, go journal. This is a question that I'm asking all my clients. It's a question I asked on my 2000th show, and I'm going to give it to you because it's so powerful. If you were going to become a billionaire within 10 years, there's 2 parts to the question. What is the impact you would need to make on humanity? So this assumes you're going to get to being a billionaire because you're going to make such an important impact. Like you invent the next iPhone or whatever it is, but you have that inside of you. And so this is calling you to take your purpose and just put it on steroids to the 10th, right? It's like, okay, I've been playing in this, let's call it the little pond. Well, if I were going to play in the billionaire pond, I'd have to make a much bigger impact to get that many people buying from me, right? The second part of it is, who would I need to become? And that's the critical piece, because, you may be listening and be going, but JB, I honestly don't want to be a billionaire. I go, that's fine. Do the exercise anyway. Ask yourself, if you were, what would need to happen in terms of impact and who you would need to become. And I guarantee you that will just multiply the speed with which you're growing your business, growing your impact, growing the money in the bank, and growing the happiness and fulfillment and joy that you have. Because the truth is, we become joyful, which to me is my deepest feeling that I have. And love is my deepest state, because I believe that love doesn't just conquer everything. I do a lot of work with people because I'm clinical psychology trained, NLP for 9 years. I do a lot of energy work that I myself create, and I call it liberation work. I'm liberating people from the old version they have of themselves, from their old beliefs, from their old identity, from their own personal reality that says possibility is X. Well, what if possibility was Z to the 10th instead of X, right? And the truth is, we have to just retrain ourselves inside. That's where everything starts. The big mistake a lot of business people make, especially early on, but it's true later as well, is they're trying to solve all their problems by looking to the external. And Jenni, this is what I say. You may very well need a new sales funnel. That may be true, but it's not your problem. The problem is you need to evolve to the next level so that you can even see the possibilities for the next strategy. Because otherwise you're going to be creating strategy and execution, the 3 areas I work with: mindset, strategy, and execution. I always start with mindset, because until you shift your mindset, you're just going to create the same strategy and execution, and you're not going to build anything bigger, because you're going to be looking through the same lens. We got to expand that lens. We might have to break the lens a few times going around. We're going to have to smash those glasses. I'm sorry, but those glasses just don't fit anymore. We need completely new lenses for you to look through.
This is so exciting as you're talking about it. So you are saying that you create your own economy.
Absolutely. But you create your own economy, not from the outside, but from the inside out.
Okay, so this is what our audience are particularly. We have a switched on audience. They know about energy and alignment, but there's a lot of very poor people who know about energy and alignment. So I love that you were talking about. I love this idea of limitlessness, whereby you don't put a ceiling on it, because it's true that when you say I've got a goal, even striving for that goal already limits us, whereby you're bringing a new expansiveness to it, whereby you're saying, if you just like take the ceiling off what you think you're capable of, that is possible if you do the work on yourself. So JV, would you say then that people have got to find this limitless possibility in themselves?
Yes. Well, it is inside of you. The limitless, when I take people, I have 5 levels I take people through. On the first level, it's the foundation of mindset, strategy, and execution. And that's really the world of the high performer. If you make shifts in that, you're going to be a high performer. But I've got 4 more levels that are really embracing at deep levels the spiritual and the conscious evolution of us as human beings, because that's where you actually tap into these higher levels and eventually get to limitless. So I'll just go through those. The first level, mindset, strategy, execution. This is the foundation for business. And by the way, this is a profound thing for many people when I tell them there are only 3 kinds of problems you can have in your business: mindset problems, strategy problems, or execution problems. And that means there are only 3 kinds of solutions. Now, once you have it in that understanding and that framework, you now begin to understand where things belong and what kind of shift needs to occur. Now, oftentimes, and I'll give you an example with marketing, oftentimes people, something we're doing in business involves all 3. For instance, in the mindset of marketing, if you tried something once and it didn't work. So really, as a scientist kind of person, I was pre-med, so I look at things through a science lens as well. What you're really saying is this set of variables tried once, didn't work. Now I've decided Facebook ads don't work. When in case, it's only this one specific instance that didn't work. If you continue to hold that as a belief, you're never going to look at that as an option for marketing. So what is going on inside of you in terms of your beliefs, of your personal identity? Oh, I'll have people say, oh no, I can't email but twice a week. And I go, oh, your CRM doesn't work that much? And they go, oh no, people would be upset. And I go, oh, so what you're saying is that some people will leave because they were never going to buy in the first place. Is that what you're telling me? You see, so if they have an identity that, oh, I'm a very polite person, and polite people don't email but twice a week. Well, you just left 5 days in which nobody can buy from me. Congratulations, right? Or your personal reality that, that emails don't work anymore. Your personal reality is, oh, well, that's not the real kind of solution. So I shouldn't even be doing that. So that mindset's going to impact the strategy you choose. And then the strategy is going to impact how you even execute. So that's an example, marketing, but many things involve all 3. But let's go to the second level. So the second level is really where it starts to get fun, because the second level is the level of awakening. Awakening to who you are, what's possible for you, how you want to show up. And awakening to me is about connecting. And there's 3 connections. There's the connection to yourself. So you awaken to, I am far more than I ever realized I was. I'm connected to this deep purpose. I'm connected to this deep soul within me. I'm also connected to other people in a far more complete way. I'm connected with all my stakeholders in my business, not just my customers, not just the people who work with me, my suppliers. I'm connected to the environment. I'm connected to the society I live in. That's the second connection. But the third connection, of course, is opening yourself up through a variety of avenues, but opening yourself up to be connected to higher consciousness, to evolved consciousness, to evolved beings, to open yourself to that awakened level. The third level is empowerment, but it goes beyond, the empowerment that we're normally looking at is the empowerment that comes out of a lot of psychology. It's most of what you read, but I'm talking about deep empowerment. Deep empowerment where you are empowered from the source, the creator source from which everything comes, and realizing that that creator source is also inside of you. It's not external, that is the essence of your own being. And now you're getting empowered by that energy, empowered by those inspired thoughts on a daily basis. The fourth level, and I like to talk about this one in terms of the movie Matrix. It's one of my favorite movies. In fact, if you frequent New York back in the old days when I used to fly there, right? In Midtown, they have all these tables where for $20 you can buy a script. So I bought the script of the movie as well. So I've seen this movie probably 40 times. If you think of Neo, what really happens in the course of this movie is Neo awakens to an even greater understanding of not just who he is, but how reality works. And if you go back and you follow it, the hints are there all along, but eventually gets to the point where he realizes the bullets are just energy and I can just stop them in midair. Right? And then I go, we're all Neo. So the awaken, the fourth level is about reaching our Neo state. And then from there, we see reality, we see possibilities, we see opportunities, we see the future, we see today, and it's like it's all different. And that's where we have the fifth level of limitless, where we start embodying a limitless life, where we have deep, loving, fulfilling relationships that are much more rewarding than anything we ever had in the past. Because we are totally open and connecting to another open human being in a way that connects us, and we become one in a way that we didn't at those earlier levels. We have a limitless impact, which really goes into legacy, where we go, how many people's lives can I impact? How profoundly can I impact them? How many people like you're doing, like I'm doing, like most of the people who read your magazine are doing, how many people can we impact? As I call it, get out of the little ripple pond and start making a big wave with your life. Maybe you even want to make a tsunami. But all of a sudden you start realizing, oh, I can have that level of impact. Sometimes it's just organizing the right people, right? And then that leads to limitless money, where money is just energy that's constantly flowing in. And then you realize it's not even mine. I'm just the custodian. It's been entrusted to me. And yes, of course, if I want to go buy the fancy car, go buy it. I love art, so I'm looking forward to buying my first original Jackson Pollock because I just happen to like art. It brings me joy. I like surrounding myself with it. Well, you just realize you're playing in a different field where you're not grasping, you're not struggling, you're just going, oh, I'd like to flow that over here. Or maybe I want to give $1 million to this cause because I know it'll make a difference. In the pandemic, there have been a lot of people who are wealthy who've, given a chunk of money. I'm thinking Dolly Parton gave $1 million to one company to help them create their vaccine. So all of it, you just realize it's like water. It's just like it's energy, but it's like water. It can flow every place you want, and you can turn on the spigot, and it's not like it's going to stop flowing. That's when you are in that limitless state. That's the that's the place that I think the great spiritual teachers, people like Gandhi, who, to me, I consider Gandhi a personal mentor because I admire Gandhi's work so much. Yogananda was living that way spiritually. I think Elon Musk is living that way in terms of creating new paradigms, because he's creating paradigms about how do we create this abundant wealth, but it's electric cars, it's space travel, it's doing things that are going to shift humanity. And that's what I think we feel called to. When we get that limitless level, we go, yes, we can very quickly, in the next 30, 40 years, this world is going to be massively different. And what we're going through all over the planet, to me, is massive chaos, but the chaos is being caused by something specific. The old paradigms are just clashing with new ideas. And the old paradigms are all going to go away. People who are wanting to be who are wanting to conserve the past, I'm going to use the word that way. Folks, I'm sorry, but you're on the wrong train, because we're not even on a train, right? We're on the beam 'em up Scotty world, right? That's, and you think about it, I just got the iPhone 12 this last week. The only thing iPhone 12 doesn't do that I can think of that I want is it doesn't beam me somewhere, but that's coming. It's coming. We will figure that one out as well. So we're playing in a field, of limitlessness, but it's not just this concept. It's not, oh, it sounds nice. That's actually the truth. But the only way we get there is through our own personal journey. And for me, on my journey, I think the most important part this last year was becoming much more connected to the higher realms, the realms of dimensions where there's no time and space. So those are places I've been visiting personally, right? And connecting with different energies there, connecting with different wisdom there, connecting with different inspired thought, connecting with different evolved beings. I'll just say that, because anybody who starts waking up, that's what happens to all of us. We get inspired, ideas. You can call it guidance, whatever word that you like. It's been there all along, and it's been operating all along, I now believe, but now we become aware of it in a profound way. And that's part of that deep empowerment, that it's not just staying on the surface of psychology that I changed a habit, and that's great, but it's so much deeper than that, because we're really, in many ways, changing ourselves at a cellular, at an energetic level, in that we're waking up and realizing, for instance, the world I live in, I'm just aware that I'm a human being here. But since my 20s, I've been aware I was a human being other places. So that's not a new concept for me. I'm most aware that I'm the core of my being is in this field of no time and space, that's the core. And that in a way, I look at it as the mothership. I'm connected with the mothership, and the awakening and the awareness is the awareness of that energetic channel that I'm not separate from. I'm like a drop that's still connected to that sea of consciousness. And the more awake I become, and the more awake my clients, the more awake other people become, the more where we are of that connection. And what's great about that is it gives us access to insight, to knowledge, to seeing the future, literally, to going back to your original question. During this time, well, I think more people are actually waking up, because their old way of life didn't work so well. And especially when your livelihood all of a sudden dries up. I know people that in March and April last year were talking to me, and they're going, Chidi, I was fully booked for 4 or 5 months. Speakers, people who went on stages, people who did that kind of thing. And all of a sudden they had 0 bookings. They were all canceled, no income coming in, and I've watched those people as they go through. Sometimes there is a bit of struggle initially, because you're, oh my gosh, what's the new direction? But when you stop grasping and you open, and you ask the question, what's the new possibility? Or you take the question that I've given you, if I were going to become a billionaire in 10 years, what impact would I make on humanity, and who would I need to become? And you answer questions like that, all of a sudden you step into a powerfulness that you've never even experienced before. And that powerfulness is you. It's the next version of you. And you're deciding that instead of taking 10 or 20 or 30 years to get there, maybe you'd like to get there in a month. and I'm not in any way using hyperbole. You can get there in a month, and it might have taken you 10, 20, 30 years on the linear path. But we're not even talking quantum. What we're really talking is stepping into the true reality of being an awakened person, an evolved human being. That's what the Conscious Millionaire journey is really all about. And out of that, you make money, but the journey is taking the journey. The journey is realizing that we are actually eternal consciousness is our true nature. But it's one thing to say that intellectually, because at one point that's what I did, and I lived at a Buddhist monastery. But now I'm experiencing it, and that's giving me what I'll call, divine guidance of how to go out and play bigger, how to go out and impact the world. Because I tell you, once you start seeing this, yes, the money's great. The Jackson Pollocks, just so you know, they're like $12, $18 million for the good ones, right? And why buy a bad one, right? So, but it's not the money. It's the impact that drives you. But then you want to set up your business so that it is very financially successful. Because here's the truth. You cannot impact, very few people will impact the world in a big way if money's not involved, because it takes money for marketing, for sales, for staff to build your business. Let's not fool ourselves. And I mean this is no discredit, but if you keep telling yourself I make 50,000 a year and I'm making a big impact on the world, the truth is you probably aren't. The truth is, but the greater truth is you can answer the question, if I were going to be a billionaire in 10 years, what's the impact I'd make on humanity and who do I need to become? And all of a sudden you'll start stepping into that limitless stream that's always been there, but now you're experiencing it. Now you're aware of it. And now your future can change literally that quickly.
I love that you brought the Matrix into that. So many people. I'm due for my at least 15th watch, I think, after hearing you, because it's one of my favorite, probably one of my favorite movie of all time. Because when I also understood the limitlessness of Neo, when he realizes that he is all powerful and that everything outside of himself is an illusion, I had a major light on as well, and I love that. That's such a beautiful analogy.
Well, yes, and there's so many lines from it. I mean, when you've seen it as many times as I have, I mean, I basically have it memorized. It's like my parents.
Don't you wish you'd made that film, Jamie?
yeah, in a way, because when he goes to see the Oracle, my favorite line isn't about the vase breaking and all that. It's okay, I'll have my kids fix it. But what'll get your noodle is, would you have broken it if I hadn't said anything? My favorite line from her is when she goes, but I don't know, maybe you're waiting for something. Maybe it's another lifetime. And to me, part of the message of the Matrix is Neo stepped into his limitlessness because he stopped waiting. And I think most of us on this planet have been waiting too long. And so if there's one challenge I could give you today and to your readers right now, stop waiting. Ask the question, if I were going to become a billionaire in the next 10 years, what would be the impact I'd need to make on humanity and who would I need to become? And then stop and then find the answer and stop waiting and start living at a limitless level.
I'm going to recommend that everybody start this video or this podcast or this reading right from the beginning and watch this again with notes. I absolutely adore those 5 levels because they make it possible for anybody to start exactly where they are. When you brought down those 5 levels, they're so tangible. It's like, okay, this is where I am. This is where I am. This is where I am. Oh my goodness, that's all I need to do to get to the next level. But now I have a structure. Now I have a structure. That was absolutely beautiful. So I am going to include a whole load of resources, links, etc., JV. I love that last question. I think it is the question. Who do I need to become? It is how do I become preeminent in every way, in my topic, in my field, with
Right. And yes, and who do I need to become to be preeminent?
who do I
Who
need
do
to
I
become
need to
to become?
become? Right. And then you realize, and it's never come up in anything we've discussed today. It never comes up in any of my trainings. The word competition, I don't even use it because then people don't even think about competition. It's not about competition. It's about stepping into the magnificence of who you are and bringing that forth. And the people who need your magnificence, if you've still got to put the business, I really want to be clear about this. You got to put the business model together correctly. You got to do the right marketing and selling. You've got to do those pieces, but you're doing it from a different perspective and with a different intention, because the intention is to make your big wave and to touch those people's souls who are at this. There's two kinds of ways you're going to touch them. You're going to plant seeds. Millions of listeners. Most episodes get 500,000 listens. I'm 6 days a week. I know that I'm planting a lot of seeds. I'm also not delusional that most of those people are ever going to buy anything from me. And I spend a lot. My podcast costs me $50,000 a year to do, because we do it at such a high level, the marketing and everything. But I see it as planting the seeds, and it's part of my giving of myself to the world. It's a way that I really work every episode to give myself fully, to give people what they need to take their next step from listening to that episode. So there's that one group of seeds, and some of those seeds are tell other people. And then there are the people that are ready at this moment to engage with you, because you're making it clear. I work with people who are right here, and I'm going to take them to this next level. And if that's you, let's dance, right? And so when you're that crystal clear, it also makes it easier to find clients. Recently I turned down my VIP, my top clients start at 50,000. I turned down a $50,000 client, and I told him, I said, you don't want to work on yourself. And the way I work is that we got to work on you to work on your business. And if you only want to work on the sales funnel, because that's all they actually wanted to work on, and I don't even do sales funnels, but I said, if that's all you want to work on, I'm not your guy. And you're telling me you want to triple your business, I can help you do that. I've had people go from 1 to 2 million in 5 months. But we worked on the inside most of the time, right? And then we worked on the marketing, and we put the two together, and sparks went off and fireworks happened. But it must start on the inside. And if somebody doesn't want to do that work, then I just go, okay, I'm a transformational mindset and strategy guy. I'm good at both areas. But you've got to want to transform you to transform your business. You can't do it backwards, and you can't leave you out of the equation. It won't work.
JV, thank you. This has been absolute gold, and it's going to be my absolute joy to spread some more seeds. There's nothing that fills my heart more than people with humanity changing messages, where they can have the best of absolutely everything with no compromise. This has been such a joy. I know that you've got to get off quickly, so. Is there any particular resource? I'm going to be sharing all of the resources.
Well, first of all, I'd love for you to go, and you can subscribe so you get all of them. They're 6 days a week, consciousmillionaireshow.com, and you can subscribe whether you have an iPhone or an Android. I always like to give away something, and this has been so popular. I create empowerment hypnotic audios custom for my VIP clients, and it really helps their mind and their internal shift. And last year during the pandemic, I created 6 short ones for the world just to give them away. And this one has been so popular that I just keep giving it away. It's called Born to Make Millions. And when you hear that, you're thinking, oh, it's just about money. Well, I got to tell you, no, it's a 6-minute hypnotic audio. It's going to change your life. I'm going to tell you exactly what to do. But the answer that it programs your mind for goes back to impact. What's the impact I can make that will bring me those millions? It's the same theme, folks. This is my theme, right? And you can get that at consciousmillionaire.com/make millions. And I want to give an exercise that you can use for everyone. listen to it for 30 days. The first minute just sets it up so you can, forward to it's only 5 minutes, and listen to it in the morning and in the evening. And then once a day for 5 minutes, write in a journal for 30 straight days for 5 minutes. And every sentence starts with, I was born to make millions because. I was born to make millions because I love to help people. I was born to make millions because I'm energetic. I was born to make millions because I like to spend money. It doesn't matter. Your mind will create the answers. And just do that every day for 30 days, the 3 parts. Listen to the audio morning, afternoon, or evening. Journal for 5 days, 5 minutes, and I guarantee you, you will go to a different place and you'll be approaching your business and life and money from a different perspective and a higher perspective specifically than you were at the beginning of the 30 days. It will transform you.
Amen, JV. This has been absolutely fantastic. I am all about habits. I recommend everybody to make JV a habit.
Thank you.
Podcast, book, dive into this work, find out more. I am sure that if you resonate with what JV's been talking about, make JV a habit. This is it's going right on my list now.
Thank you. The book you can get at Amazon, Conscious Millionaire, Grow Your Business by Making a Difference. And when it launched, it became #1 in 34 categories and was the #1 book on all of Amazon with 50,000 downloads in 3 days. So it's there. And I'll tell you my 3 recommendations. There are 14 chapters. But if you start with chapters 2, 3, and 7, I think it'll give you a good overview. 2, 3, and 7.
Fabulous. Well, JV, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending the time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And my blessings to you and my blessings to everyone who hears this and reads it, that you awaken and move into your limitless self.
Absolutely. And when JV's got your back, and so's Jenni P. Thank you, JV.
All right. You too. Bye-bye.